All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Tuesday morning Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my also partner, Mr. Benny Allen. I hope everybody is doing well today. So we got quite a bit to dig into, so we're going to get rocking. So as always, let's turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage, as you guys always do. Grab a pen and paper for notes, and let's make sure, just for the courtesy of everybody on the call, please ensure that your mic is muted if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment. All right. So let's get to it. We're going to dive into some fundamentals, and then we'll get a good overview of where we are from a technical perspective. So if you could drop me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay. I don't have a normal setup today, but we're still rocking. So drop me 1 in the chat if you can hear me okay. All right, beautiful. Appreciate it. So we are gonna get to it. Let me hop over to my other screen and we'll take a look at some fundamentals. All right. So fundamentally, okay, we got a few things happening. Oil edges up from a 9-month low. WTI crude futures rebounded 1.5% to near $78 per barrel on Tuesday, from a 9-month low. Okay, so oil is making the slight comeback. Oops, there we go. Now you guys can see. Oil is making a slight comeback. So we'll take a look at oil and see what's happening there, right? Well, we press down into a key zone there also, okay? Then we have natural gas prices in Europe jump 8%. So we have some things happening over in Russia. We talked a little bit last week regarding the war in Ukraine starting to escalate. With we got nuclear talks, we have partial mobilization, which means taking steps toward actual declaration of war. And then over the weekend, there was a leak found in the Nord Stream pipeline in the Baltic Sea that goes to Germany. So they're trying to figure out what's happening there and what caused it. Russia saying that there's some sort of tampering that occurred that caused this leak. So that's going to cause our gas prices to start to fluctuate a little bit when it comes to a supply issue. Okay. So we'll watch oil and we'll watch gas as well, because there's an impact on 2 of the pipelines. And then we have the pound. Great British Pound recovered some ground to trade at $1.08 on Tuesday after tumbling to as low as 103.50. Right, we saw some major drops in the pound the day before, which was the weakest on record. Still, the sterling is set to remain under heavy pressure, with many analysts saying that it could reach parity or even fall below the dollar soon. All right, recent tax cuts announced by the government were not welcomed by investors, as they are likely to make debt levels soar, and no details about the new fiscal plan were provided. Kwasi plans to explain his plan on the 23rd of November, the Treasury has announced. Meanwhile, the Bank of England failed to deliver an emergency rate hike on Monday, right? There were some talks on Friday that the Bank of England might come in on Monday and do an emergency rate hike. But they did not, right? To support the currency, and said that it's monitoring the market developments and will assess the fall in the sterling in the next scheduled meeting in November, right? So they won't have a meeting in October, they'll have a meeting in November, and that's where they will assess where things are. So traders are now turning their attention to the appearance of the central bank's chief economist, who I believe it's how you pronounce it, Pill, later this morning, hoping some clarification on the next central bank steps will be provided. Right, so we got some downward pressure happening coming out of the Bank of England. All right, so we'll continue to look at that. We'll look at these pound pairs to see where they are in their retracements off of those strong moves. These moves were massive, man. You're talking 500, 600, 700, 800, in some cases 1,000 pips to the downside. We look at the pound yen. So it had a lot of movement. So we'll look at those pound pairs, and then we'll leave it at that. You got Bitcoin topping 20,000 for the first time in a week. So that's where we sit there from a fundamental perspective. We'll hop over to trading economics. All right. Now, Bank of Japan, Governor Kuroda spoke this morning. He basically stated that the Bank of Japan is going to stay the course. They're not going to make any changes from a monetary policy perspective. And he didn't give any insight on the intervention. So Bank of Japan is going to stay the course regarding loose monetary policy. All right. So later today, President Lagarde will be speaking 9 this morning. And then we have FOMC member Collins speaking as well. And then FOMC member Mester for the United States speaking at 4 o'clock. I'm sorry, that all happened yesterday. Apologize. Today, Fed Chair Powell speaks at 7:30. We got durable good orders coming in at 8:30. And then we got consumer confidence coming in at 10 o'clock, right? So it could be some volatility depending on how the conversation with Fed Powell goes. Tomorrow, President Lagarde speaks. And we have FOMC member Bullard, Fed Chair Powell speaking tomorrow in the 10 o'clock hour. And we have pending home sales. Crude oil inventories will also potentially be a big one, looking at crude oil and the volume there. On Thursday, we have GDP coming out of Canada and final GDP quarter over quarter coming out of the United States, along with unemployment claims. Then we have Governor Orr speaking at 9 a.m. for the New Zealand dollar as well. Okay, so we got a lot of central bank speakers coming to the microphone this week, so it could cause some volatility there. On Friday, we got CPI for the euro. We got PCE numbers for the United States, bank holiday in Canada, and then more central bank speakers and consumer sentiment on Friday as well, right? So pretty busy week, but more from a central bank perspective, hearing what they have to say and see if they give any hints regarding forward guidance, okay? So do we have any questions when it comes to the fundamental perspective?
No, sir.
Brother Benny, good morning, man.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Doing awesome. Some interesting times, right?
It is, man. It is.
I've never seen what we just witnessed. I mean, unbelievable. You know,
Dude.
besides Brexit, you know, I've never seen drops like this. But hey, inflation, man. All these other central banks racing to catch up to the Fed.
Yeah, so, and Bank of England not moving as fast, right?
No. So yeah, I know their last.
Have you ready?
No, I was just just a little. They expressed. I said a lot of investors expressed disappointment in the last hike from the Bank of England. Thought it should have been higher. You know.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see how it plays out, man. I'm just gonna follow the waves. That's it.
That's it, man. That's it. That's gonna keep us on track, dude. That's gonna keep us on track for sure.
Indeed.
So it'll be interesting to see if that pound gets to that parity level, though.
It definitely will.
Yeah. Cool deal. I appreciate you, bro.
No doubt.
All right. Give me 1 second, everybody. Let me get everybody hooked up here.
Hey, Ryan.
Good morning.
Good morning. I do got a question. I was trading ACAD and I'm still trading gold, and I noticed that similarities in price movement that they have. But I came across a video and they're saying and they was comparing gold to crypto, because I guess they're trying to find a way to, I guess someone, Yamari Gold or company or something like that. I guess they're supposed to be doing a lot of purchasing and stuff, because they was talking about, and they was relating it to GBP and how the stocks is falling, and then because people don't have crypto to fall on, that it's a possibility that gold is going to rebound regardless if the US dollar is high. And I was trying to figure out, I had sent the video and I was trying to
I apologize, I didn't respond to that.
Oh no, you good. I figured you was gonna get to it on trading days. Those was work hours. I respect that.
Yeah,
But before the week go through, I didn't. It was a couple of things in there that I couldn't interpret what he was talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll take a look at that video today. I had some time past few days, but been super busy. But I'll take a look at the video today for sure. When it comes to gold and Bitcoin being comparable, we kind of been touched on this quite a bit, but I still don't see Bitcoin being a hedge against inflation, right? Which gold was, and even now, right? With everything that's happening, it's kind of turning the whole market on its head, man. So in theory, right, when you have high inflation, historically you saw gold move to the upside. We haven't even been seeing that, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty regarding how things will move, and if this if what we've seen historically will even continue to be the case, right? So what are your thoughts, man?
Bitcoin definitely not a hedge right now, right? We know it's closely correlated, at least in its price movement, to the tech sector. Gold, the challenge is with the dollar and the interest rates and the bond yields, right? So we're getting a little bit of a breather from the dollar right now. I don't think that's going to last too long. But when you're starting to see bond yields creep up globally. So your dollar people are choosing the dollar as the safe haven. Why? Because it is yielding you something, right? The interest rates are going up. There's a yield on that. There's a return on that. Gold, what interest are you gaining from gold? Nothing. So right now, dollar is being part of the strength of the dollar is not only the interest rates, but it's playing the role of the safe haven as well. So people are opting more for the dollar as a safe haven right now, as opposed to gold. I expect to see gold definitely recover. But at the end of the day, right, is the dollar is king right now. But definitely no correlation between gold and Bitcoin right now. I know there's a lot of people that want it to be that because they're heavily invested in Bitcoin, but that's not what the price action is showing. Therefore, to me, it's not the reality at all.
And far as with gold and oil, because the reason why I brought up ACAD, it was just I noticed that because I went in to see who was the exports and imports, and I noticed that Aussie was an export of gold and India was on both sides. So I guess I was just trying to understand the relations with what they're trying to hedge against if they're not doing it against the US dollar.
Gotcha. Any other thoughts on that?
No.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, we'll see, Joy. We'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I watched that video though and get you some feedback for sure.
Hey, Ryan, I have a question. How you doing today?
Duan, I'm doing well, man. How about yourself, bro?
Oh, brother, I'm doing great and very well, very well.
Awesome, man.
my question is, I hear a lot about gold, but what about silver?
Benny, what that gold to silver ratio? I don't trade silver at all.
Well, silver has to deal with a lot with production, right, and expansion because of the use of it, right, as a metal. So when you look, it's not a safe haven asset or a hedge against anything. So when you look at uh, you know, economies, contracting globally, when risk sentiment is to the negative, right? You're not going to see you're going to continue to see a decline in the gold price, right? You have to go and look at what silver is used for, right? So what you know why is silver important? Why do we use silver, right? How does it play a role, in the economy?
Mm.
But definitely not. Um, it doesn't operate as a hedge.
I mean,
Yeah.
it though, because a lot of there's a lot of talk around gold and Bitcoin and everything, and the next best thing to gold, I would think would be silver or platinum or any of those things.
Right. Because so when you think of it, right, so you think of it, with silver. So let's think about some of the things that silver is used for, right, in regards to production. Okay, like you see copper, helium, things like that. But technology, electronics, engine bearings. I'm looking at the stuff. Medicine, cars, water purification, jewelry, tableware, metals, things like that. So if there's fears of a recession, right? How do we think silver's going to do?
In a recession,
Just the fears of a recession, right? It's all based on sentiment. How do we think silver will perform in a global economy where there are recessionary fears?
mm-hmm. I mean, right now it's looking as though it's going down.
Correct. Why is that though?
Probably because there's less demand.
Correct. There you go. Bingo. You got it.
Okay. That makes sense. Totally makes sense.
Yeah, you know it. You got it. You know the answer.
So that would make silver wouldn't that make silver more of a predictable asset then?
People do use it as a predictable asset, like copper, and then it plays into, like, for example, iron ore, right? So that's Australia's number one main commodity is iron ore. So it's a commodity currency, right? Also gold, like George was saying, right? So if there's less demand for iron ore, because iron ore is the main ingredient in steel, China is Australia's largest partner. They're the largest purchaser of iron ore, I think, globally at this time. Okay, because the United States uses a lot of recycled steel. Okay, so if China's having issues with their economy, right? A lot of people think China's in trouble economically. If they continue with COVID restrictions, then there's going to be less expansion. There's going to be less demand for that iron ore, right? So therefore, the Australian dollar could suffer as a result of that. Okay, because they're a commodity. It's a commodity currency. They're an exporter, right? They export that iron ore. Okay, so if there's less demand for iron ore, that can cause that Australian dollar to continue to fall. Okay, so you can look at it that way. So it's the same thing with silver. Right? Same thing with silver. If there's less demand, right? If people aren't spending, if people aren't buying, right? So if people aren't buying those electronics and things like that silver is used for, then that can cause the demand for silver to decline, and that's what you're seeing.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That makes perfect sense. Man, it's amazing how intricate all these things are to one another. All these commodities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, like we talk about it all the time, those commodity currencies. That's why you saw during the sell-off, you saw those commodity currencies are taking a huge hit. You know, the dollar rising against the CAD, like it, you know, the oil prices dropping. Well, the number one commodity for Canada is oil. Okay, when you think about New Zealand, dairy, right? We asked that question last week. Dairy products. Okay, if people are tightening their wallets and there's less spending and less demand, all right, then they're not going to buy as much of that stuff. So therefore, that country whose number one commodity is dairy, they may suffer, right? You may see that currency decline, right? Risk sentiment, risk on, risk off, right? Huge, very, 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 very important. And that's, you know, and that's what this is all about. And those great questions that you asked, because it's one thing to see it price going down on the chart, but why is it going down? Right? That helps you in regards to your bias as a trader and being confident in that bias. So you can catch those big long-term moves, and you're not so anxious every time you see a price move in one direction, right? Oh, that's just a correction, because overall this is my bias, right? And you can hold that trade because your sentiment is that this is going to continue to fall to the downside. And that's how you have to think as a professional trader.
I see. I noticed that on this graph here, you got a bar down there to 11 and 12. If it drops that low, oh, that's the low. Okay, so if it drops that low, does that mean that it's a good? I mean, for personal wealth, does that mean it's a good time to probably go buy a bunch of silver?
Potentially, right?
Yeah.
Potentially. From you at that point, you look and you see, well, what's the global sentiment? What are we looking like fundamentally at that level? So we know technically, right, that could be a good area to buy, but fundamentally, does it make sense? Is it worth taking a shot there? Yeah, potentially. You get a low that form there. You get a trend line break or something that forms in that area. You take that position, and if that's the spot, right, where you have buyers perched and everybody's eyeing that level, then you're going to win that trade. If not, you're going to lose it. You know,
Well,
that's just how it goes.
Well, what I meant, Benny, is with actually going out and purchasing some actual silver.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, those are levels you can actually. So you're talking about as a position and holding it over the long term. Yeah, and you know that you own it at that point, and then if it drops lower, you may look to accumulate more at the next level that it falls to. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. As a long term position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's not going anywhere, right?
Right.
Now, the world's not going to just stop using silver forever.
Right.
So that's the advantage that you have, right? As a technical trader, as you can see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, whereas most people are depending on financial advisors and everything else to make that determination for them. You can see it for yourself. Everybody's looking at the same chart. It's not like the big players are using different charts.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people just don't know that Forex is the gateway to all of that.
Absolutely. Oh no, most
Absolutely.
people. Yeah, most people don't have an idea. No idea whatsoever. No, but it affects their lives every day.
Yeah. Now this is the kind of stuff that needs to be taught in financial literacy.
This is facts. Agreed. Man, great conversation, fellas. I appreciate that. I learned some of that conversation. Hope everybody else did too. Yeah, so that's where we sit from that gold and silver perspective. Take a look at the dollar real quick. Then we touched on it, right? Raising to the upside. Okay, it's a 4-hour chart. We got a 382. We're pushing to the D extension right now. We're getting a little bit of a retracement here, right? So we broke this all-time high level, right? Now we're making new highs. So looking for this pullback to come here, and then we'll look for price to continue pressing to the upside. Okay. So that's where we currently stand with the dollar. So what that means is on those dollar crosses, when we talked about a little bit over the weekend, right, looking for some retracements to occur before we get some follow through and continuation. Okay. So as you flip back over and look at the dollar CAD, okay, here on the 4, let's bounce back to the daily, right? Daily time frame, we're pushing to this weekly level. Okay, we closed above it, but now we're pressing back down, right? That retracement that's coming. It's extremely overextended on the daily. This is our previous matching D extension here, right? So we're looking for a new swing high to form to give us a new fib. Okay, so if that ends up being our high, right, our fib will look something like this. Okay, so we're looking for a retracement. If we get back to this next daily level at 134, right, that'll give us a 38.2 retracement, right, and that'll give that matching D extension up here at 143. Okay, so we'll watch that from a data perspective to see where that swing high forms and see what kind of action we get out of it. Okay, and so we got a lot of central bank speakers today, so that could give us movement in one direction or the other. Okay, so as we drop back to the 4, take this out. All right, we saw that we had that new AB boundary here. Okay, we already got a 382. We're getting a little sideways push here, but if we break back below this daily level, right, look for this thing to press down and give us a nice deep retracement here back to that 134 level that we saw on the daily. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for here on this dollar CAD is continued retracement, at least for a little bit, before the dollar turns around and presses back to the upside in that continuation. So I'm waiting for price to get down here in our zone, and then I'll look for buying opportunities on that. All right. We got a 4-hour support here at your 61.8, so that could give you a little bit of confluence if we see price turnover in that zone there. Okay. Those are drops to the 1. Okay. Drop to the 1. Similar look to the 4. Okay. 382 retracement, push back up to retest that weekly level. Okay. Push back up to retest that weekly level. Now we're looking to see if we get another push to the downside to give us a nice deep retracement there. So if you're not in this already, just wait for that low price, and then we'll look to buy this back to the upside. Okay. Any questions on the dollar CAD? Nope. All right. Cool deal. Let's take a look at this UJ. We got that press to the downside, right? And now we had a nice retracement, came back to retest this daily level. Okay. I'll zoom out, I'll clean this up a little bit. Okay. Got a nice retracement here. And this is on the 1, mind you, right? Come back to retest that daily zone. Okay. So it's bounced back to the daily. Here on the daily, we're still playing in that B boundary zone. Okay. Still playing in that B boundary zone. 236 retracement. So if the dollar turns around and pushes, we could see this push up to this 147 level, right? However, we'll see how price responds at this 145, 160, 165 level. Okay. If we break above that, we're going to be headed here to 145. At that point, we could see some more action coming out of Japan. Okay. But if we stay below this, right, we'll look for a deep retracement to come. We got some clusters here to break through daily and weekly levels, right? But at least this 38.2 level before we see price push back to the upside. Okay. Now, the other thing we could see because of the intervention in Japan, because of the strength of the dollar, we could see a little bit of consolidation happening here, right? We could see this just move into a range a little bit for a little while before decisive action is made in one direction or the other. So be aware of that as well as we press back to the top of this range that we're currently in. Okay. So back to that 4. Zoom back out. There we go. Right, we're still sitting in this 118 and 127 zone off the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so still an 80-20 play on the 4. Right, so I'm looking for this to turn over and press back down to the downside here. Okay. Yeah, we'll look at the 1-hour time frame and see what it looks like from a cloud perspective. But I am looking for price to turn over and give us at least a push back down to the 140 level, right? If we press deeper than that, that'll be beautiful. Okay. So that's the 4. Drop to the 1. And especially if the dollar continues to retrace and gives us that nice deep retracement, or at least back to that all-time high level, right? That could be that catalyst for this to continue pressing down. Okay. So we'll run our fib from here. So, and this is what that looks like, just in that range there. Okay. So just like we had it before, right? The 4-hour look is the cleanest look that we have. And the daily. So we'll watch the 4-hour on this. But if we look at it from a cloud perspective, right? We're just ranging. Cloud just pressing through price. We pressed above here, right? So now we just sit and wait, right? Wait for our confirmations to give us the confirmation that the price is going to move back to the downside with Kumo twist, TK crossover, lagging span breaking through price. Okay. And then once it breaks the cloud, that'll give us additional confirmation that this could move for a little bit. Okay. So watch this one closely for a continued potential move to the downside here. Okay. Questions on this dollar yen?
Sir.
All right. And that's really with we'll look at, we may not have time today, but I'll make sure to post some charts on all these yen crosses, because all of these yen crosses are making nice retracements, right? And I am looking for at least some of them to give us a continuation push to the downside. So keep your eyes on all of your yen crosses for another move down. All right. So that's the dollar yen. Excuse me. Got the dollar Swiss retracement. All right. That's the 1-hour chart. Bounce back to the daily. Beautiful move to the upside as anticipated. Okay. We had this head and shoulders pattern playing out here. Okay. We broke that neckline. We're pressing to the upside. All right. Had a larger pattern from a broader view that is also playing out here. All right. Go back to the daily. Can we see it? Can't quite see that pattern here. Yeah, I can't see it there, but we've got a larger pattern that's playing out as well. But we're pressing to the upside. Okay. Pressing to the upside and head and shoulders pattern broke the neckline, coming back to retest. And we'll look for this to continue pressing to the upside as well. Okay. Look forward to continue pressing to the upside. So let's get back to the 4. All right. This is our AB boundary here on the 4, off of that right tip pushing up. Okay. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. We're getting this retracement. Okay. So look for price to come back. We've got 4-hour support sitting here. Right. We may not get a deep retracement on this one. We may, right? You got a previous consolidation zone here at that 618 level, right? So if the dollar gives a nice retracement, we could see a push down. And I'd love for it to get here, but we may not get that deep retracement here. So we'll continue to watch this to see. But we're in an up retracement zone nonetheless. Okay. So continue keeping your eyes peeled on this one. All right. So all these dollar pairs are waiting for these retracements to happen, and then looking for continuations to the upside. Okay. So as we drop down to the 1, got your look again there. Shallow retracement, 118, 127, retracement here. Okay. Question on this dollar Swiss.
No, sir.
All right, cool deal. This is a zone I would love for price to get back to give me an optimal entry here. All right. Love for it to come back down in this area. Okay.
Absolutely.
Strong impulsive move, right? Shallow retracement. So, you got any thoughts on these dollar crosses, Ben?
No, they're correct, and even where the dollar is the counter currency, right? They're in the correctionary phase right now. Like you look at the Aussie dollar, New Zealand, the New Zealand dollar, it's reversing to the upside. The Aussie dollar is not giving us. It's trying to react at that level, on that 4-hour 80-20 level there.
Yeah.
It's formed a low. Yeah, it's formed a low, but not as strong. But the New Zealand dollar is making some headway. But that Aussie dollar right there, that 65.04 level, if it breaks and closes above, it might be, trying to make a move that was at that daily level you got right there that is holding below right now, 65.04. Yeah, so
exactly.
Back up above there. So we'll continue to watch the dollar. Watch. Let's see if we get some relief on the bond yields. I'll take a look at that, like 10-year bond, and see. Because usually, you usually get the move in the bonds before you see the price action on the dollar. So,
gotcha.
Continue to take a look at it.
Cool deal.
So, yeah.
Appreciate that. So we'll Benny break down those bond yields, right, and see where we sit. But if we break back above, like Benny was saying, this 65.04 level, right, we could be looking for a nice retracement at least back to the $66 level. Right, it's a weekly level that we broke through and retested, right? Kept it in play. If we get back here, then we'll look to see how we play. But we got to break through this daily level first. Okay, so that's what I'm waiting on this Aussie dollar is a break back above to confirm that 80-20 level. Okay, so that's the Aussie dollar. Break down to the date or to the 1 hour, right? In your cloud. You got a similar deal, shallow retracement, 118-127 zone, still below the cloud, don't have a twist. You got your TK crossover here, okay? Lagging span is starting to approach price, right? So things are getting close. So we'll see if we get those confirmations to break back above to give us that nice retracement. Okay, so be patient on all of these and wait for those confirmations to occur. Okay?
How much has that moved already, Ryan, off that low?
50 pips.
Wow, it's amazing how price reacts at that level.
Yeah. So
think about it. There's nothing else there. Your next support, your next daily support is what is that? 64.
64. Yep.
It's at 64.1, and look how you got that pause in the price action and that reversal at that level. I mean, that's a 56 pip move already.
Yeah.
Just out of that zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Halfway to the daily go, to the weekly go. Yeah. So these levels are powerful, man. They are powerful. So, yeah, that's where we sit on the Aussie dollar. Any questions on this one? Wait for those confirmations. If you're not in this already. All right. Bounce back to the New Zealand dollar here. On the daily, right? Made this nice strong push to the downside off the 236 retracement. Okay. Broke below key daily level, right? Pressing to the downside, but we're retracing. So it's likely, right? We could retrace and retest this daily, potentially this weekly level, right? But we already got a 382. So we're looking for price ultimately to get down to the 54.67 level, right? But we're looking for this retracement to occur first. Okay. Those are dropped to the 4. Right? Bang. 118-127 zone. Okay. Now we'll see how price responds at the daily and weekly level. See if we get a break deeper, right? So these levels are going to come in play here as well on the upside, similar to that Aussie dollar. But these are key levels that we broke through. could be coming back to retest, similar to how that dollar index looks. That's heading back to retest that all-time high that it broke through, okay? So watch for price to get here, and then we'll look to see how it responds. If it breaks through in a nice bullish fashion, we could see continuation higher. But if we get a swing high to form and we stay below, right, we could look for this to go ahead and head down to that matching B extension, okay? So we're in that retracement phase now on this one. Got down to the one. Let's see. Run the fib off the high. Okay. So here on your one, active AB boundary here, we're already at a 50% retracement off the 1 hour. Okay. Already at a 50% retracement, 86 pips off of the low. Okay. So could potentially get retracement, but looking for this to continue up to this level. Okay. Looking forward to continue up to that level. Drop the cloud on to see where we sit from that perspective. We haven't gotten there yet on the one. Okay. On the 15, you likely did break through the cloud and get your confirmations. See here, right? Pressing sideways a little bit, but we got a nice bullish break, right? We got our bullish cloud. Teganson and Keeganson are next to each other here, but you got your twist back here, okay? So we could be in for a little bit of a retracement to retest the cloud, and then we'll look for this thing to continue to the upside, okay?
So this is how you can potentially build into a trade, right? So that initial entry at your 127 zone, okay? So you can see how early, with what we teach, you can see how early we can potentially get you in setups, right? At the lows coming off that 118, 127 zone. So if you entered off that 118, 127 zone and you're using the cloud, then maybe you use your cloud and the cloud break to add an additional entry once things line up for you. So everybody follow me on that? Drop me a 1 in the chat. Just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Yes. Sure.
So
Okay.
so when we talk about building a position, you know, this is one way you can utilize the cloud. Early entry off the 118, 127 zone, which we consistently identify. If the trade is going your way, right, you get your cloud break on whatever time frame you plan, in this case the 15, then maybe you look for an additional entry.
All right, so now you got two positions running to the extension there. 214, 145. Appreciate that, bro. Okay, so that's the New
Absolutely.
Zealand dollar, right? Look for that to continue to the upside there. Okay. No questions?
Nope, it'll be interesting to see how much relief we get on the dollar.
Yeah, I'm curious on that too, right? I'd love for it to retest that all-time high level, to push these dollar crosses to those high points, right? Euro USD, to really give us that good high price, or higher price anyway, for potential entry short. We might not get it on this euro dollar though.
Right.
But we're sitting here at this monthly support level, right? Crash down, strong moves to the downside, got a 382 retracement, just stalling right now at this monthly support level, okay? Would love to see a retracement to give us a high price to push short, but matching the extension here is at 93, 121, right? The $96 level was achieved. We talked about it quite a bit ago. Made its way, right? So the next level that we're going to keep our eyes on is down here at this 93, 121 zone, okay? We got the daily D extension here. Let's go back. I might have a weekly D extension here also. Let's see. Now weekly, yeah, 93, 121, right? So we got a weekly D extension and a daily D extension in the same zone, okay? So at the end of the day, right, looking for a retracement to then get short and come down to this $93 level. So this is the next level that I'll have my eyes on, right? And it's also previous resistance here back in 2001, right? So makes sense, right? Matching B extensions, hidden levels of support and resistance has been talked about all the time, right? And you get that visual here, okay? So pressing to the downside, headed to the downside nonetheless, right? All of this got it heading down, okay? So retracing here if we get it, okay? So if we drop to the 4, check this out, right? We got a fresh AB boundary. Try to press to the upside, but we're stalling, okay? Stalling in this range. So if we get a break above this weekly level at 96,851, right? Look for price to come to that 4-hour 382 at 98, right? If we stay below this, right, we could just get that classic 80-20 scenario, right? Where we get this breakdown and we push to that weekly B extension and that daily B extension, okay? And then we'll see what happens here, right? To see if we get a retracement to occur. And then push down, right? At this point, I don't see a lot that's going to turn around the dollar, right? We got to see a lot of things occur in order for the dollar to return. So Benny mentioned it a lot last week. At the end of the day, we're waiting for high prices to get short on these dollar crosses where the dollar's a counter currency, right? And where the dollar's the base currency, we're waiting on low prices to get long, right? So if we break this level, look for us to head down here, okay? So that's the 4. And on the 1, this is what we're looking like. We're just pushing sideways, okay? In that 118, 127 zone, but it's just a sideways push. So this range, you can really highlight this weekly level here, right? And even with the cloud starting to push sideways. So if we get that break above, you also get a break above your cloud on the 1 hour. That'll give you some confirmation of this push to the upside, right? To that level. If all of that comes into alignment. So we'll see. We'll see how the week moves. You got President Lagarde speaking, and you got a lot of FOMC members speaking as well, along with Chairman Powell twice this week. So we shall see. You got your 1 hour D extension down here also, which kind of lends toward, right, that push to the downside potentially happening, okay? There and then to that $92, $93 level, okay? So watch this closely. Don't be patient with it. If you don't get the high price, if it doesn't meet your rules, don't risk it, right? But if it meets your rules, you'll have an opportunity to take that, okay? We drop to the 15. You can see it's just pushing sideways here. See, it's just pushing sideways, okay? So let's see. So here on the 15, you got a nice deep retracement. So if we do press back to the top of that range and we stay below, right? If you're looking at from a 15-minute perspective, could give you an opportunity there, right? But at the end of the day, down, just depending on if we get a retracement or not, okay? Any questions here on the euro dollar? Yep. All right. And then this pound dollar. This move is crazy. Actually, let's go back. Let's go back. Monthly time frame. Monthly time frame. Okay. You broke below this all-time low level at 114. We got our monthly D extension sitting here at 92. Right, the article that we read said investors looking at potential for parity to get broken. This is what they're talking about right here. Okay. This is what they're talking about right here. So we'll watch this. 92, what is it? 92,386. Okay. We want to see if we get there. We want to see if we get there. We'll drop this down to our lower time frames. That's the extension on the monthly chart, right? See strong bearish movement now. We'll see how the month closes, right? So as we go to the weekly, your weekly D extension is also down here at parity, right? Just above it, okay? So all signs point to parity, just a matter of when, right? Just a matter of when. So we could see, we've got some indecision right now. We could see this retracement occur, potentially coming into next week, right? Or through the rest of the week, rather. And then see that push to the downside, okay? So watching that closely to see how it plays out, right? But parity's there, below parity, that $92 level on the monthly chart. That's what the investors are looking at, these two levels here, okay? So as you drop to back to the daily, right? This is that retracement that we're starting to see now, okay? This is the extension on the daily time frame. You take that out, looking for this retracement to occur here, right? So it's quite a bit, quite a ways for that to move. 600 pips to the upside, right? And this was the move down. Let's talk about that 1,000 pip move. That's it right there, right? Friday to today, basically. So as you drop to the 4, right? We also had a D extension hit. And now we're in that retracement phase, okay? We got a 382, got a pullback, looking for this to continue to press higher on the 4-hour, 786 retracement zone, okay? So this is the fib that I'm eyeing to follow this through, to look for this high price to then get short, okay? This is what I'm looking for. Okay, so keep your eyes on this as this continues to press to the upside. Look at that 618, 786 zone. See if we get a nice retracement opportunity. A nice extension opportunity there. Pressure to match the extension, which is also in line with that monthly D extension here at 92. Okay, so that's what I have my eyes on. But if we drop to the 1, you see we're at a nice 618 retracement level now, hovering in the cloud, starting to get your twist, your Kumo twist. Down, you got your TK crossover here, pressing to the upside. Your lagging span has broken through the top side of price, right? It hasn't broken through, the cloud isn't close. Could see some more consolidation run through here before we get that push to the upside, okay? But this is on the move nonetheless, right? Got quite a ways to go, okay? So if you get that break on the 1 hour, that could be your opportunity to take that trade to the upside, right? And still get you the bulk of that move as the cloud does, okay? Still 500 pips if it moves back to that monthly level, okay? That's the pound dollar. Any questions here? Be patient on this confirmation as well. Nope. Okay, let's take a look at some of these yen crosses. Aussie yen. Beautiful push to the downside, right? We got a 382 retracement off the daily time frame, but we couldn't break above the zone. Beautiful press down, came back to this daily level that's held in the past, right? Now we're getting a retracement, okay? So we want to see, do we stay below this next daily level at 94,767, okay? On this retracement here, okay? So that's what I'm watching to see if that occurs. If we stay below, we'll look for this thing to continue to press to the downside and ultimately break this $92 level, okay? So as you get to the 4, this is what this looks like. Keep the cloud off, right? This was the push to the downside. Okay, so now we're sitting shallow retracement, push down, hovering at the B boundary level, right? We may not get this 118, 127 push if we get this retracement first, okay? So this is that daily level that I'm watching to see if we stay below, okay? So could get a push back up, give you a nice deep retracement here on the 4, right? But then that continuation to the downside, okay? So levels are off, 1 second. There we go. That's what we're looking at there. Okay. Daily support, daily resistance, and then look for the continuation short. Okay, so this is what I'm waiting on, is this high price here. Okay, as we get to the 1, fresh AB boundary, the extension achieved, swing low, starting to get that retracement happen here. Kumo twist could be starting to form. You got your TK crossover, lagging span hasn't fully broken through price yet. Okay, so if you're looking to play the retracement back to the upside, here's your setup, right? Here's your setup. Wait for those confirmations here on the cloud, and then look to ride that back up to this daily level at 96. Okay.
Hey, Ryan.
Yo.
So we're looking at a potential range, huh?
Yes.
So you start potentially running up ABCDs with the break of that cloud.
Yeah.
Right, just continue to track it that way.
That's a good call on that, bro.
See if you get that break and just pull that down fib off, and just say, hey, because you know where you are as far as that. We're back to the bottom of that range pretty much, and just see if it carries through. All right, it's a pretty thick cloud, so if it breaks, if it breaks it, then we're looking to continue to wave up potentially.
Yeah,
because that's the a lot of times people sometimes when banks come in and intervene, right, they think that it may be a long term thing, and I don't think it's such on the yen, necessarily. We know the yen hasn't really been playing as a good safe haven, so if this continues to push long, then that correction could be over, right, for the yen. Just trying to get it back down to a decent fair value, because what they don't want to see is those consistent 200-300 pip runs against the yen,
right.
So they've ran a correction now, and so it might be time for some of these yen crosses to continue long, because at the end of the day, there's still a huge monetary, right, policy divergence there, where they held rates. So, a lot of people focused on the intervention, which did correct price quite a ways, but at the end of the day, they still held rates. They didn't raise rates. Right. So at some point, I think these currencies are going to continue to recover against the yen. Is it now? I'm not sure, but it's looking that way on some of these crosses.
It is looking that way. So what would happen if like on that dollar yen, if it gets back to that 145 level, that 147 level, right? Would they potentially come in and intervene again?
No, I don't think they're interested in defending that again. I think, that's
they made their stance in this basically.
Yeah. So I just think they're looking for it, because it was the moves against the yen are so sudden. Like that's a shock. You know what I mean? That's a shock. And when you're living in Japan, to have a shock to your currency like that, it really hurts. So I think that's what they're trying to avoid. I don't think they're so much interested in that 145 as opposed to how fast they got to that level. Is the issue. I think that's going on with Japan, because again, they're a net export economy. They've got I just lost my train of thought. I remember in a little bit, but they've got a negative trade surplus, so they went negative for the first time in a while. So that's an issue. That's an issue. They're used to, they run off of exports, so they want to export more than they import, and that flipped because of price pressure. So I don't think they're necessarily defending that is not the primary issue, as opposed to the rate, how fast it got there.
How fast it got there. Got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Cool. So we could be in for that, good people, right? We could be in for that move to the upside. Okay, so if we get that break, look forward to continue. Okay, appreciate that, bro.
Yep, no problem.
So coming back to the daily, right, taking into account what Benny just talked about, right, with throwing this Aussie yen, we could be headed back to at least the top here and potentially further. Okay, so if you're in those shorts, manage your trade accordingly, right? And make sure that you take your profit where you need to.
Yeah,
Okay?
at least until you get proof that level is not going to hold again.
Yeah. Makes complete sense, bro. Complete sense. Questions on this Aussie yen?
We had a hand raised from David, I believe.
David, what's up?
How you doing?
Doing well, man. How about yourself? Good morning.
I'm doing great. I have a quick question. It's regarding the risk management calculator.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed it's available in 3 currencies. Is it going to be available in Canadian currency anytime soon?
We have not done that yet. I'll write that down as a note for us to take back and discuss. That hasn't been a part of our conversation as of yet, though.
Okay.
But I'll definitely bring it back. We'll take it back to the table and discuss it.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Thanks for that.
Welcome.
Any other questions?
No.
All right. Cool deal. Take a look at the Swiss yen, and we will wrap it up here. So, Swiss yen came down, right? Strong, sharp move, and now we're pressing sideways. Okay. I've been looking to see if we get this retracement here. Based on what Benny said, this could be a turning point, right? We could continue to press higher on the Swiss yen also. So we'll see if this daily level holds for us. We'll see if this daily level holds as this retracement continues to play out. We dropped to the 4. You did get a 382 on the 4 as well, right? Matching the extension that's here at 154. Starting to make those waves to the upside now. Okay. So if this daily level gets broken, right, we could be headed higher. Okay. Could be headed higher there. So we'll watch this as this retracement continues to go, right? Some may be in that off that daily fib. We drop to the 1, right? We haven't broken through that cloud yet, similar to that Aussie yen, right? But if we do get that, could be opportunity for that long as Benny just broke down for us, right? We got your Kumo twist here, right? It's kind of moving sideways a little bit. Got your Tickets and your Keys moving through price along with your lagging span, right? So consolidation is what the cloud is telling us. You can also see that in the price action. Okay, so if we get that break, then that'll be an opportunity for us to play that to the upside. Okay, so look for that as well on the Swiss yen. Questions here? No? Benny, you got anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Look forward to seeing everybody tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great session, man.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate the conversation too. We didn't get through as many pairs, but great conversation regarding just overall economics, right? And how this whole thing fits together and impacts every single part of everything that we do. Okay, so appreciate the questions, appreciate the feedback, appreciate the engagement. You guys have an awesome Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow, tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my partner, Mr. Benny Allen, for the Asian session. Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.